You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider. This is Pancakes and Bacon with VFL, Kyler Kerbyson, and Reed Bacon.
Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Pancakes and Bacon. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Kerbyson, joined with Reed Bacon. Got another great one. We're going to finish out that signing class. The guys we didn't talk about before, we're going to talk about them. Before we get into that, we're going to be talking about some of the transfers that we've gotten, a couple guys, and then we're also going to be talking about the new voice of the Vols. So a lot to get into. Before we do that, if you guys are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment. Love to see the comments. And then if you're just listening, rate, review, download, re-download, all those listens, and then follow us on all social media, as you can see it in the description. So without further ado, Reed, how we doing, bud?
Hello. How we doing, brother?
Doing well. Just making it through the snow over here in Nashville.
You recognize this swag?
Yeah, I recognize it. Old 77.
Big 70. I worked out. Like I was telling you on the phone, I kind of forgot about this one and then pulled it out and worked out in it for the first time. And I love working out in it. Big, baggy, which I like, but still kind of fits, which I don't know what that says about me, that this is I think 3X, and, it's not like a dress. So,
funny story about that.
You told me.
The last time I wore that, I was probably the most hungover I've ever been. Almost missed a flight back from the Outback Bowl and was sitting in a middle seat with that and the matching swooshy pant on, just struggling through. Like I was probably a little drunk still after celebrating the Outback Bowl. Just absolutely struggling through that for flight. Like, please don't throw up on these people. So that was fun.
Who are you sitting next to? Were they not teammates?
Literally, like, all the seats were taken because I was the last one on the freaking plane. So I was sitting back there, like, next to, like, a coach's wife and, like, a media member.
Oh, brutal. Yeah, I remember us talking about it. I remember us talking about that because the first time I wore this was to run the neighborhood, and it was March maybe. And so it was 65 maybe out, and so I wanted to get a good sweat, but this thing was a damn hot box, which I like it. That's why I like working out in it. Anyways, I hope everyone's enjoyed the snow. I hope everyone's been safe. We're going to jump into this. We're not going to BS a lot. Bacon Junk Removal, that's our sponsor. Kyler's going to get some rewards from it. Things have been going really well. I'm extremely fortunate. I've had a good amount of jobs. I've had some really, really good people to work for. Most people have been great when they see your boy walking into their business or just door to door, passing out cards. Most people are very friendly, very nice. So I appreciate that more than they know. But Bacon Junk Removal, follow us on all socials, AKA LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Kyler,
while you're out and about, ask some of those businesses if they want to sponsor the pod.
Hey, do you want to use Bacon Junk Removal and sponsor Pancakes and Bacon by Rocky Top Insider? Okay, great. We'll mark you down.
Yeah, we'll mark you down.
By the way, like I told you, you look great. I love the jean button up with the Carhartt pullover and the Pinehurst hat. Looks great today. Anyways, thanks. The quote for the day. There are no flags on the field. It's a miracle. Right there. No flags on the field. So, I'm a Titans fan. I'm a Vols fan. I love both of them pretty much equally. But I was in Nashville when the Titans moved there. I have the faintest of memory. Like, I don't remember anything, but I do remember this part very vividly. And it was the Titans were coming in town. They were going to like TSU or somewhere else to practice. It was an open practice. I'd been begging my dad all day to go, but it was a night practice. So all I remember is walking up these old cement stadium steps, getting all the way up there, seeing everything, and then I fell asleep. And my dad had to carry me home because I was probably first or second grade at that point. But I remember climbing those steps. I remember looking out, seeing the Oilers uniform, seeing the practice, and then I was asleep. So the reason I'm such a big Titans fan is because I was in Nashville when they basically popped off, when they moved there, and then it hurts the heart a lot and I get Nashville's changed a ton over the years since I grew up there. And I know the Titans have had their ups and downs, and right now we are about as low gets. I mean, the fact that Mike Vrabel just got hired today as the Patriots, it's sickening because I love Braves. I never want us to fire him. Not that I don't think
ridiculous. I mean, bad management of this entire program over the past 4 years.
Yeah, it's been brutal ever since they let AJ Brown out
was
the
the first
door.
domino.
Yep, and then John Robinson goes, and then Vrabel goes, and it's just been brutal. And I like Callahan, I genuinely do, and I think he has some good coaching qualities. But I think Vrabel's a top 5 coach in the league, my opinion. So, and I wish he would have gone to like the Raiders. How cool would it have been if he brought the Raiders back? I don't want him to go to the damn Patriots. They win all the time, and they're about to be good again because he's a good coach and Drake May's good. So it sucks.
They're gonna be in that like Steelers kind of frame, like with Mike Tomlin, where they're like consistently winning a good amount of games. I don't know if they'll like make it all the way because like I think that was literally what was holding Vrabel back at the Titans is on the offensive side of the ball, like having a quarterback that you can be like, hey, I'm putting the game on your shoulders to go win us a playoff game. And that's what he was missing.
I think Drake May is going to be that. So far, what I've seen. Now, do I break down his film? No. But what I've watched, he has the potential to be really, really nasty.
Joe Milton.
What?
Joe Milton.
Stop. But anyways, I think Drake May has the potential to be really good. I think Drake May is going to be better than Ryan Tannehill. And we saw what he could do with Ryan Tannehill because they mixed it in with A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry. But, yeah, man, it just stinks because I want Vrabel to do well. But it's like if he had gone, like I said, to the Raiders, bring them back, that would have been cool. I don't really want him to go to the Jets, but I'd probably rather him go to the Jets than the Patriots. It's like I hate Gerard Mayo got fired. I don't know what happened. I watched one Patriots game, and when they play the Titans, I don't know why they weren't very good. I think it's very difficult to fire a guy after 1 year, but they do it all the time. But I think the only reason they did fire him after 1 year is because they knew Vrabel, they could go get Braves.
Exactly.
And to your Steelers point, I've gotten in a lot of arguments about this. I don't like the Steelers, but I'm not a big Mike Tomlin guy. I think he's extremely overrated because he's good enough to be good, but he's not great. And his first Super Bowl was his first year. They had all the talent. I don't want to go on a tangent here, but just to your point, I think Vrabel and the Patriots are going to be better than the Steelers. That echelon. But anyways, I grew up with Mike Keith, and I grew up plenty of times traveling on Sunday. First off, the Titans fans, when the Titans first got there, were unfreaking believable. Adelphia Coliseum, I mean, it was sold out every freaking week. The Titans were good. We had a great home field advantage. I mean, a couple seasons in a row, we didn't even lose a home game, had all the sellouts. But I went to a bunch of games, but there was a lot of times I was either traveling back and forth from Knoxville to Nashville, even though we were living in Nashville. And that was before phones and little TVs in your car that really worked. And so I grew up on Mike Keith. And I think Mike Keith, and everyone can agree, he's really, really, really good at what he does.
He is.
And so he's always going to be my voice of the Titans, but it's unbelievable to have him now. Now, how many games do I consume of radio of the Tennessee Vols? Not many at all, hardly at all. Now, this is not I'm not trying to be mean. Bob Kessling did not do it for me. So I think this is an astronomical upgrade. I mean, I don't even want to put a comparison on it because I don't think they're even in the same stratosphere. I really don't. I think
I agree with you. I mean, I think Bob was fine, but I think Mike Keith is like a legendary voice. I honestly believe that. Like, I think he's one of those ones that like maybe people who haven't heard him, like who haven't been Titans fans, who haven't listened to like Titans radio and like paid attention to it, like, you know, fans of the other teams in the NFL. But like, if you really break it down, listen to him, like actually pay attention to it, there's no denying it. Like the amount of excitement the guy has, the fact that like he cannot sit down, like he needs a good 3 foot by 6 foot space around him to call games. Like that's how he does it. He's standing the entire time because he's in it. And that's what you want as like you want that excitement, that, you know, pumping of blood in you. And I just don't know if Bob did that very well. Where Mike Keith, like, I might listen to more games because Mike Keith is on there. And like, I really want to hear that first, like, sack. And I can't wait to see what he does with Tennessee Volunteer calls compared to Tennessee Titans calls. Because I always love the touchdown Titans. Like now I want to see what his Vols like touchdown, like however he does it. Because he worked under John Ward, it is kind of like, where are you going to go? Are you going to take from him a little bit? Or are you going to kind of invent your own thing for it? So it's kind of cool. It's awesome. It's unbelievable. I mean, we both eat crow on this. We both are wrong. We were dead wrong about this. We both said that he would stay with the Titans, not come here. So I'll admit that I was wrong. I think I was speaking from a place of me. I love the Vols. I love them. I love the Titans. But if I can live in Nashville, and if the money's pretty comparable, he's probably honestly going to make more here because he's doing football and basketball. So he's working a lot more. So you would assume they have to pay him considerably more. But like if I can live in Nashville, making really good money, work 17 games a year, I'm just more interested in that. And plus, I just like the NFL more now compared to kind of what college has become. I've probably honestly always been maybe even a little bit more NFL growing up, honestly. But that's just me personally. And so that's why I didn't see it happening. And then when they got him, and it was really cool to go back and look at the interview that he gave with Brent Hubbs and talking about that the 2022 football game with his dad against the Alabama game. I don't know if you caught that interview, but you need to go back and watch it. But he's literally talking about sitting there. His dad just had hip surgery. He's watching that Alabama game, and he just saw it. And like he talks about seeing the students and the fans and the passion. And he said that started stirring up all the emotions that all of us feel of it's football. And for you and I, it's an art form. It's a thing of beauty. We love football, whether it's NFL, Pop Warner, or whatever. We just enjoy watching it and enjoy playing it. But when it comes to like Tennessee, it's about who you go to the games with. It's about the memories that are made. It is about everything that kind of builds up and leads to it. And he's talking about traveling in and where they stop to eat, and he gets to go see his aunt and uncles and cousins and how that stirred up to him. And I'm like, man, that is so Vol for life. It's not even funny. I mean, that you're watching. He's the voice of the Tennessee Titans. He's a legend. He's great. But that starts stirring up. And I think there is something to say that like Tennessee's going like this in pretty much all sports, and the Titans could not be going any more than this. Yeah. And he's done it. You know, he's done it. He's been there, and he had great times with the Titans. I mean, they had plenty of playoff runs, made it to a Super Bowl, but I just think he sees the trajectory. And I think for him, it's honestly going to be a little bit more of a challenge too. So he's kind of like reinvigorating himself, because we all get to this point where it's, hey, bro, I'm so good at this. I'm so confident in this. Like I can wake up and do it in my sleep. And there's plenty of people listening to this that whether it's in your job, no matter what it is, you can do it at a high level. Oh yeah. But now coming here, and he's doing basketball, and he's like never really done basketball. And so I think it re-energizes him, what is that word I'm trying to say? Reinvigorate him. And man, I can just, bro, I remember driving, we're in my dad's old Jeep, we're listening to the Titans, and like you said, he brought you in. He's like, it's 3rd and 7, Titans showing blitz, they manned up, coming around the corner, sack, and then it just comes out of nowhere, and you immediately know, like, let's fucking go, like we got the sack.
You know what I mean? It's like, and then like you said, it's here goes Henry around the left side, touchdown Titans, and it's like, dude, you and I went to the Florida game together. It's going to overtime, and we're like, yo, let's get back to the house, try to catch overtime, beat the traffic. We would have stayed, but my dad and my uncle were there. They were ready to get home, so we're like, we're not going to make multiple car trips. Come pick us up. We'll leave. We get in the car. I'm watching on my phone. We watched it on the phone the entire time we walked. We're still watching it on, but then we hear Bob Kessling, and it was so brutal. It's overtime against Florida, and it sounded like he was just sitting on his porch talking to his wife, just, and Nico Yamalava drops back. It's just like, what the fuck are we doing, dude?
I mean, a prime example, like you brought it up with the Mike Keith interview, it's just like the field goal made versus Alabama in 2022 was, I mean, it was nothing. It was literally nothing. Like like he had an opportunity as a guy to really sell that play and make a statement and make a like, hey, this is what people will remember me for. Where John Ward had that play, like first play versus Alabama. Like he has those plays where it was like everyone remembers what the call was. And now like Bob Kessling had the opportunity in so many different years, like the Juwan Jennings Hail Mary catch, this kick versus Alabama. Like there's so many different plays where when people remember them or when people go back and look at them, they listen to fucking Vern call that, the CBS call. They listen to the ESPN call versus Alabama. Like they don't listen to the radio call from Bob Kessling. And it's like, I think Bob doesn't necessarily like take advantage of those opportunities like you would hear John Ward do and you've heard Mike Keith do for the Titans. Like, there are no flags on the – like, people remember that statement. That's why you put it on your thing. Like, it is a part of the Music City Miracle. It's not just the play that happened in the broadcast. So it's just I just don't know if he took full advantage of the opportunities he got.
I think, Kyler, I think you hit it spot on, man. I mean, I think that is – I wasn't even thinking about that until you brought it up. And now I think back, and I was at the Alabama game. But when I go back and listen to it, I hear the radio call. I mean, I'm sorry, the TV call of Chase McGrath hitting that field goal. I honestly, to this day, I don't even know if I've heard Bob's call, which is a sad thing that his call wasn't all over social media.
That's what I'm saying. You're telling me if John Ward wasn't on the call, that would be everyone's fucking ringtone, dude. Yeah. It would be insane.
Yeah, and I think it just speaks to a little bit of, if you go somewhere and you're kind of the good old guy and the slap on the back, and maybe Bob was better when he first started, but 26 years of that job, I'm like, I almost need to go back and listen to this because I don't know how a guy that unappealing and that, just unappealing and not great gets a gig for that 25, 26, 27 years. And I don't know Bob. Bob could literally be the sweetest old man in the world. But, I don't know him, so I feel bad talking about him, but I'm not talking about him as a person. It just didn't do it for me. Some people liked him, and that's fine. And another thing is I'm not saying that I need someone that's yelling and freaking out all the time because Mike Keith calls games in other spots. But, for example, I don't need a Gus Johnson who just is, losing his britches all over the place.
Yeah.
But Mike Keith
also
does
trying
it.
to create nicknames. Chill out, dude.
Yeah, it's like Mike Keith does it in such a timely manner, and it's not just the excitement, but it's also the call itself, the wordplay, and I'll give a shout out to Pat Ryan. I mean, Pat Ryan was on that Music City Miracle, and the two of them going back to that because you hear Pat Ryan go, he's got something, he's got it, and it's like so. If you're listening to that, you're hearing Pat say that, and you're like, holy, we're about to now. Your boy was there. I do remember it. I just have to say that. And I think it's funny because when I was living in Nashville after college and people would call in and talk about Music Bureau, they're like, at one point there's only 60,000 people in the stadium, but now you'll talk to 200,000 people that say they were there.
yeah, exactly.
And I thought that was a funny joke, but I was there. My dad and I and mom were there. So that's something I'll always remember. But man, I was just so blessed to have Mike Keith as a Titan. and I'm really blessed to have him as a Vol because I don't catch anything Titans radio anymore, like at all, because I'm living here. I watch it on TV, so I will get more. Like it'll even be a possibility where I'm muting the TV and listening to Mike.
I think so.
You know,
I think I will.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So anyways, man, kudos to Danny White and the people that got it done. Once again, I feel bad sounding off on Bob Kessling, but it was brutal for me. And so this could be a bigger
name. Obviously, John Ward is an absolute just like legend of legends, but like you can name multiple plays and multiple times where he made the 25 to the 20 to the 15 to the 10, like pandemonium reigns. Like
what did he do? All he did was score.
Yeah. Give him 6. Like it's just he has so many where Bob did fine. Bob was explaining what was going on, but like Bob didn't take advantage of those chances he had to make a statement that was going to last a lifetime. After you're gone, people will remember it.
Yep.
It's just not there. But
this is a low-key.
Love having him here.
Low-key one, and I forget one of my buddies who brought this up because I didn't even hear it, but when John Ward goes, and T. Martin, alley-oop to Peerless Price in the back of the end zone, I'm like, who says that? Like the alley-oop in football.
Who would say that?
Yeah. But yeah, massive upgrade. Okay. We're going to transfers. Let me just say this overall.
Okay.
One transfer I'm very excited about. The other one is kind of bleak for me. And for some of these recruits, I'm gonna say it. I don't want to sound like a hater. All these guys are better football players than I was, but there were some of them that I'm just like scratching my head, looking around like, I don't know what's going on here. So I am very, very excited to hear what you think. So
yeah, I mean, they're fine. Listen, the first half that we did were the top half of the class. The second half we're doing is the bottom half of the class. So there's a lot of 3-stars in here that probably won't play, might not play, that might transfer in a year or so. So like we'll talk about them. We'll see what it is. And I mean, there's certain things that they can do well, and there's a lot of other things that they can't. But
and I knew you were going to say that, and I echo that. But there's a point in time where I'm like, you have to hit on some of these 3-stars. I mean, some of our really good players over the past couple of years that I can think of, whether it was a Cameron Sutton or Derek Barnett, Ricky Gibson now, like there's plenty of guys that were 3-stars that ended up becomes, I think Jalen Reese-Maben might be a 3-star. So you can't miss on these guys. But then after watching what happened with Ohio State and seeing some of these other teams, and then I'm watching this bottom half and I'm like of the signing day, and I'm like, I don't know, like I don't get it.
I think there's a few that can.
Okay. Well, anyways,
be able to turn into something.
All right, Wendell Moe. What did you think about Wendell Moe from a transfer standpoint?
So with Wendell, it's good. He's got a lot of experience, which I like. He's now played in like almost 30 games over his career at Arizona, so that's good. He's played both sides. He's played right and left, which is good. Watching some plays versus, some of the teams they've gotten, Big 12's not great, so it's like hard to really judge. But like, I'm judging him more on like his technique and stuff. I think he has really good eyes for a guard where a twist will happen. The nose tackle tries to go to the center, and he keeps his eyes up for the twister that comes back around. Double team's going on, and he keeps his eyes up to where's the linebacker going? Is he cutting backside or is he coming front side? Like, do I need to come off the double team or does the center need to come off the double team? So like he keeps his eyes up and is aware of what's going on, which I like. There's a lot of guys who will just, this guy I'm blocking, I'm staring at him, my head's down, and you don't pay attention to the looper. You don't pay attention to the back of your double team into. You don't pay attention to the extra blitz guy who you actually could have picked up. You in the center are just bullying a dude. So it's like those kinds of things I like out of Wendell. He's a big dude. So in those situations, a lot of times he doesn't have to lean into a rush. He doesn't have to lean forward into a bull because he's 340. And he's like, okay, Like, yeah, come on, try and bull rush me. I'm going to just sit here because I'm way heavier. I'm stronger. I got a lower center of gravity, so that's good. Some things it's like I wish he was a little bit lower in run blocking. I need him to get his pad level down, especially for being a big boy, which I know can be hard. So, like, I think he's a good addition. He will probably have to lose a little bit of weight with how quickly we go on offense. Because Arizona wasn't necessarily like this up-tempo crazy. And when you're 340, it's tough. It's tough to breathe. You get real tired. And by the end of the drive, you're down on the goal line when it's the most important. I need you playing at top, this is not 80% of Mo. I need 100% of Mo now on the goal line. So I don't know. We'll see. I love to bring in a veteran presence, and something I was thinking about. It made me getting Wendell from an Arizona, getting an offensive guard with experience from, say, a lower tier school reminded me a lot of the CFL. So in the CFL, you're only allowed to have like, you have to have a minimum of 11 or a minimum of 10 Canadians starting on the team. So they do that so that the whole team isn't just filled with Americans, right? Mm-hmm. Canadians get to play. They have football in Canada. They have colleges that have football, high school that has football. So they make this rule. The positions that they choose to fill with Canadians are the 3 interior offensive linemen, the 2 interior defensive linemen, and then they try and throw in some skill position guys. So most of the time, your tackles, your DNs, and all your skill guys are Americans. And I'm thinking, man, this could be exactly what teams do when they're going around and trying to find people. Is like, who can I find in the portal and get a good piece where I don't necessarily have to worry about this guy leaving, what position group, and it might be that interior offensive line. Can I get a guy who's got a year or 2 of experience from a lower school, and he understands what a power is and an inside zone, outside zone, a smash play, like a pin and pull, like he already understands that kind of stuff in offense. And now I just need to get him on our lingo. It makes for an easier transition, I think, and an easier position to quote unquote hit on, because he doesn't need to be an All-American, right? He doesn't need to be the difference maker like a quarterback, like a running back, like a number 1 wide receiver. So I think it's interesting, like the trends that are going to happen in transfer portal as we continue over the years of like, what are the positions that are rotated out the most?
Another one, man. You're on it today. You must have eaten your Wheaties or something, because I think it's a great point by you, and it speaks to the larger soapbox that I would want to get on and talk about this. I've mentioned it a bunch, but it's kind of what we were told very early on when the NIL started. And yes, ideally, we would love to have unlimited money and unlimited resources and just pay for the best at every position. That'd be great, but that's not the world we live in. And so you do have to build your team just like you build it in the NFL now. You have a certain amount of cap space and where you're going to allot it to. I mentioned on last week's pod when we first heard about NIL, if you were a starter and just a decent, a starter, good player, you're making $35,000, $40,000, $45,000, and then it went up, and it went from there for the important players. I'm assuming if that was 3-4 years ago, it's probably doubled and tripled, and the numbers are going crazy and all that stuff. But if you give Heupel and his coaching staff and the support staff and all these people, and they say, okay, here's your money, how are you going to spend it? It's just like the NFL. Unless they're an all-pro, all-world guard or center, you're probably going to have to find someone that is not an A, but a B-, C+, and plug them in. And the Canadian League was a great pull from you, and I know you played there, so I know that's a good pull from you. But it goes into Wendell Moe for me. And I think exactly what I just said, a B to C plus, B minus is kind of what Wendell Moe is. Like you hit on the good parts. Like, yeah, he's experienced. He's big. Like, I did think his eyes were pretty good. And there's going to be times where I'm like, oh, great play, Wendell Moe. And there's going to be times that I'm pulling my hair out because he's going to get beat by a swing move because he's leaning and his head's down or he's too high. Or there was a couple of times I saw him get bulled, which I was not pumped about with his size. And you know, guys can be big, but that doesn't mean they play big or play strong. And, hey, do you not have enough weight in your britches? And that means he could be 330 pounds, but, hey, where's that strength? Is it in your butt and your legs and all that? And so, honestly, man, I thought he was kind of like another Javonte Spraggins just from what I watched. Did I do a super deep dive on him? No, because he doesn't have a highlight film, and I'm not sitting here going to break down a bunch of different areas. But I watched a couple of Arizona different basically highlight films or back and forth highlight films of other games, and then I would just watch just offense, and I'd lock in on him. And like I said, there was a couple times where it was – listen, I'm not going to say it was like Keenan Peely when I watched KP for the first time and at BYU, and I'm like, well, I don't see it. And then he ended up being better than I expected when he was healthy. So hopefully that can be the case. But I saw Wendell Moe, and I immediately thought there's going to be plays that we like, and then there's going to be other plays where Vol Twitter is going to want to absolutely yank this guy's butt off the field, fire Glenn Ellerby, and then that's what it's going to be. So,
which that might have happened anyway. So,
yeah. Anyways, so I'm fine with it, but I'm not going to get overly excited. Now, Amari Jefferson, the other transfer we've had come in, I'm really excited about. And just to where I start real quick, I put that tweet out, and I'm going to bring it back up so that I remember it and I repeat it back because I have a talking
wide receivers.
Because I have a talking point to it. And so let's go here. I got to get through all the Mike Key stuff that I retweeted. Okay. And I just said, Kyler, would you rather have Caleb Webb, Squirrel White, Chaz Nimrod, Nathan Leacox, or Mike Matthews, Braylon Staley, Amari Jefferson? And I didn't put Chris Brazzell in there because he's coming back. We know that. He's somewhat proven, meaning we've seen him. Obviously, we hope he takes another step. He can be more consistent, But and I said, seems like a super easy answer to me for multiple reasons. And that the number one of the multiple reasons for me is I know what those top guys are. Caleb Webb did nothing for me while he was at the University of Tennessee, whether it was in games or at practice when I watched him. Because I'm going to tell you right now, at least he is one that I know that they gave him ample opportunity to be like, you're fast, you're big, go up and make a play, whether it was practice or games. And I never really saw it. Squirrel White, we've talked about him plenty. He is what he is. I think he maxed out here. I don't think our wins and loss record changes because he's not with us anymore. Doesn't mean I don't like him, and I hope he does well in Florida State. Chaz Nimrod, I like Chaz. We've talked about it. He kind of hit his potential here, so see ya. And Nathan Leacock, I never really saw it. He never played. So my number one reason is I've seen it, and I'm going to gamble. So if we know that top list is here, but I don't know this because someone came back and said, hey, these guys below are unproven. I said, yeah, they are unproven. But these guys at the top are proven, and it ain't good enough. So I want to take a gamble that Mike Matthews is a 5-star. Braylon Staley is a pretty decent-sized recruit. I think he was a 4-star. I don't know if he's 3 or 4-star, but I liked his film. He's a good hands catcher, good ball catcher. And then Amari Jefferson, who was a 4-star. We're about to break down his film. And he went to Alabama, so he has a year of college under him already. I'm going to gamble on these dudes compared to these dudes. That was the number one reason for me. Not a shot at any of them as recruits or players. I've seen one thing. I'm ready for something else and hoping that they can take the next step. Now, Amari Jefferson as a prospect, obviously there was nothing to watch out of him at Alabama. I don't know if he redshirted, didn't play.
Yeah, he redshirted.
He redshirted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was the thing is I didn't know if he wasn't good enough to get out there and play this first year or if it was a straight redshirt year. When I watched him at Baylor, I think he's really freaking good. And the reason I think he's really good is besides the size, the speed, the athletic ability, he's fluid. And we're going to talk about this on a lot of these guys, but he doesn't just look the part, and it's not just run by catch or slant catch and you run. He did a multitude of routes. He has over-the-top run by you. He has a catch it, break a bunch of tackles, leave you in the dust. He has high point balls. Like there was a little bit of everything. The guy's a really, really good athlete, a really good receiver. And that's why I'm excited about him, because I think his floor and his ceiling is better than any of the guys that we just lost. Truly. And take a Caleb Webb, who's a 4-star coming out of Georgia, and take Amari Jefferson, who's coming out of Baylor. I watched those two highlight films. There's no comparison that I think Amari Jefferson's was that much better. You know what I mean? Because of everything he did. So I'm very excited to see what he does.
I'm with you too. I thought his film was great. I thought he did a lot of different things. I thought there was hand catches out there. There was good tracking of the ball when it's a deep throw. You saw the speed, obviously. You saw the cuts. And some of those cuts, I mean, he's making dudes fall over in his route. Like he's running a route, making safeties fall, running up and out or a post corner. Dude. So it's like, I mean, this guy sticks his foot in the ground and makes people look stupid.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one thing that I didn't hit on with him. But there was multiple times where he's in the slot, he gives a stick out, comes back in, and it's the most easy routine pitch and catch for a high school quarterback and receiver on like a little. It was kind of down the goal line, so you could have called it a slant, maybe a little skinny post. Then he has an out route where he absolutely cooks Buddy, where he sticks it like he's going in right. He's very violent in his cuts, very twitchy. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of these high school guys we watch, it's either throw it to them and let them outrun people, or just over the top. And it's like, no, this dude's cooking on his routes.
Yeah, which some of the ones in the signing class we'll talk about. And then I also think something cool about Amari is he plays baseball. He actually loves baseball, and he wants to play for the Vols. So I love that. Give him a two-sport athlete, another Helton on our hands. Guy playing both. I love it.
I would rather him just focus on football, but that's fine. I just want a really good receiver. Well, I got my national championship in baseball.
Yeah, we've already knocked that one out of the way.
Yeah, so whatever. Just give me. I want to be better in football.
All right, let's jump into the signing class. So we got the rest of the guys. Okay. Like we said, we did the top half of the signing class. So now here's the bottom half. And we're just going to go one by one and try and get some points on them.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to, I got them here on my phone because I had it on my computer, but I'm using that right now. Okay. So Rodarius Jackson, he's from Memphis. He is a 4-star and he's a composite 4-star. He's number 5 player in the state of Tennessee, number 26 receiver in the nation. 6'2", 195. What's your thoughts?
This is a roast of raw kind of talent-wise. He's playing some really bad teams over there. You can tell just by looking at all the other guys on the field.
Yeah.
And a lot of their offense is like, hey, Rodarius, go run down there. We're going to throw you a ball. Doesn't matter how many people are on you. To go try and catch it. So he's like, he is everything for his team. So I don't necessarily know if he's been really taught, hey, this is a slant. Hey, this is a hitch. Hey, this is a go. This is he's not taught the tree, route tree.
Yeah.
But he's 6'2", 195. He'll go up and catch a ball. He'll go up and hands catch it, which I like out of wide receivers. I hate a bunch of guys who always try and chest catch it, and then they almost lose confidence in catching it with their hands. So then when there is a ball that maybe is outside of the reach of their chest, they don't even go for it. And that drives me crazy about receivers. But he's one of those guys who will. But, man, he's, like I said, just raw athleticism is what he's playing with out there. So I don't know how well he'll, understand the offense. I don't know how well he'll be able to do different things. I have no idea how well he'll be able to block. But it's like, all right, hey, we got an athlete. Maybe we can turn him into something. Let's see what this is. And he's a 4-star in our state.
Yeah. So I think you hit the nail on the head. I was watching at first. I'm like, these dudes that he's playing against are boo-boo. Bad. But there was other times during this.
I literally wrote playing doo-doo teams.
So yeah, that's funny. There's our wavelength again. So it's like I'm watching. I'm like, this is pretty bad. But unlike some other dudes where I'm like, yeah, the competition doesn't look good, and I don't feel like he's doing enough to just make it look like child's play. At least Rodarius did that. Like, he's got good size. He did make it look like child's play. I just, the notes I have, nice frame, pretty nice hands. He's smooth. I did put effortless, and then I put or his talent ? So it's like, I did like that he's got some high point. He's got some rack in there. Listen, one thing I did see at least a couple times, I thought he gets some nice tracking of the ball, which is nice. Some of that over and come here. Some of that, up and high point it. Like that stuff does matter, because I don't think you can teach that. You either naturally have it or you don't. I played with plenty of people in high school. I saw plenty of times at Memphis where there's dudes, hey, they can run by you, and if you put it here, they're money. But if that buddy's a little bit off, whether it's the hands and eyes or whether they can't get their feet right to jump, it looked pretty bad. Yeah. So nice tracking, plays it well in the air. Listen, he was a quarterback, he was a safety, he was a wide receiver. So once again, if you're going to be that good, just play all the different positions, dominate. This film had a little bit of Cam Seldon in it for me, because it's like he's the best player on the team. Mm-hmm. But I don't, but then the talent I don't understand. But I do think that there was a little bit more fluidity to his game. And there was maybe like one or two more things that I saw that maybe that would maybe make me a little bit more excited than Cam Seldon. And I get it, there's two different positions. That's just what popped back in my head when watching. But once again, it's like I like it. There's nothing for me to love. Let's just wait and see kind of what happens when he gets on campus. So, but I mean, I get it. Good sized kid. He's in your state. You're going to throw him an offer. And there's a lot of times, dude, I was looking back at some of these offers for some of the kids on here that are like 3 stars. And I'm like, I got to see this offer list. And then I'd be like, yeah, it's pretty boo-boo. It's what I thought. And then I would see other ones. I'm like, oh, damn, like those are some pretty good offers. I'm like, then I forget a lot of these teams will offer these kids when they're sophomores or juniors, and then they just may not really recruit them anymore.
No, they stop talking to them. They find another guy in the same position group, and they're like, actually, we like this guy out of Florida more. And it's like,
yeah,
all right,
and you're not
texting him.
Yeah, and you're not gonna be like, hey, yeah, Reed, we offered you because we thought you were gonna get better. You're kind of trash now, so we are gonna revoke that offer. No, you just don't ever call him, and that kid's not gonna commit to a school that he's not hearing from.
There's no limit on the amount of offers you can throw out there.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so let me pull up our next one here so that I can read off to you. All right, Kyler, we have Trey Petite. So it says cornerback. We got, but I thought there was some receiver on there too.
He's a little bit of everything for them.
And there was a couple times on here that it was like, it would say athlete, and then they were like projecting him at corner, but then it was all just like, there was a couple that's like, I didn't see anything in DB here for me to even literally look at. But okay, so is that a Wisconsin? We got a Wisconsin boy? Is that what that is? Okay. 4-star for 24/7, but his composite a 3-star, number 4 player in the state of Wisconsin, number 45th cornerback. 6'1", 175. Kyler, hit me with it.
Everything guy for his team. I mean, plays both sides of the ball, does a little bit of everything. They put him at quarterback, takes direct snaps sometimes. I mean, wide receiver, corner. So kind of does it all. Speed. Guy's got speed for sure. It pops out. I thought he did a good job like staying under control when he's in that trail position and not kind of taking off or falling for the fake or what. I thought he, stayed in control. Now there wasn't that many corner highlights. And then I think he is much more of a avoider when it comes to blockers than he is to take them on. And I'd rather see him take on those blockers. A lot of the times he's running away, trying to run around and get back to the guy. And that might work in high school, but that's not going to work in college.
You have to
Ryan Williams will score a touchdown real quick on your
You have to be such an elite athlete if you're going to bounce around them.
There's no
whether you're a safety linebacker or corner, if you're going around the block, first off, you better make the play, because if not, your coach is going to eat you alive. But you have to be such an elite guy with your feet and speed and quickness, because if not,
hey, you know what? You need to go down to those individual drills with the defensive line and learn how to dip and rip around somebody if you want to try and avoid blockers, because they're the ones who are the best at it and who get, tiny edges, small edges. But if you don't have that skill set, don't be doing that in college.
Seriously.
Because that screen's going to go to the house if you do.
Yep. Is that it for you?
Yeah, that's about it.
All right, let me flip over. Okay, so ball player, doing a lot of everything. Good fluid athlete, good hands and ball skills. My favorite play was when he pancaked the dude and then blocked the field goal. So I appreciate that. If you're going to be one of the best players on your team, do stuff like that. And so I appreciate that. Now, that's my favorite play because of the effort that he shows on special teams, and he's just making plays when they need to be played. But I wish there could have been a couple other really good coverage plays or a big hit or a nice tackle on defense, because that's what he's supposed to be playing for us. But, I saw a little bit of pop coming up, but I want to see more. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Hey, if you're going to go around blocks or you're not going to disengage well, like, you're going to find yourself in trouble, because all it is now is either you got to set the edge on the run game and you're going to have an H-back or a pulling guard or whatever, or they're going to throw it out there and you got to get off the block of a tight end or receiver to go make a tackle on the running back or another tight end or receiver. So I thought it was fine, but there was nothing that got me like super excited about him. And I think it was because if he is playing corner, at least when I broke down a film of a Christian Harrison, a Ricky Gibson, or Jordan Matthews, maybe even like a John Slaughter, there was enough corner for me to see, or safety for me to see. It just wasn't a none there, but good football player. But there was nothing for me to be like, wow, I'm super pumped or excited.
Exactly. No, I'm with you. No,
okay. Let me read you
defense.
What'd you say?
There wasn't anything to be like, oh, this is going to be a great addition to this position on the defense. Like, it was just kind of like, okay, yeah.
And it's and I'm telling you, the best example we can give is Ricky Gibson, because we think he's a pretty darn good football player. He was a 3-star corner, but his entire highlight film was just DB. I mean, it was awesome. So you could see him in his eyes, how he attacked the run game, how he played multiple different coverages and ball in the air and all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
The next one here is we have Charles House. He's 6'3", 288. He is from North Carolina. He's a 3-star, but then on the 24/7 composite, he's a 4-star, number 12 player in North Carolina, number 47th D lineman.
First thing about him, he fires off the ball, which I like. He gets off. He's got a great get off. He loves him some pass rush. Loves it. You can tell. He's like more excited on pass plays than he is run plays. He like gives a little bit more effort. He loves a nice little swim move, nice little chop of those hands down and try and get around the guy. So like, I like that. It reminds me of Omar and his like pass rush kind of skills. He gets in the backfield a lot. It could be a little bit of his competition that's having him do that, but he's trying to wreak havoc back there. He wants to lay the freaking hammer on dudes. He wants big hits. He wants to lay dudes out. So I like that. I like the aggression from a defensive side of the ball. But like I said, in pass and run, I feel like in run, there's times where he kind of just puts his hands on the guy, stands up, waits for the runner. Yep. And then in pass, he sees it's a pass. He'll freaking extend, freaking shed, like rip, get around the guy, go get a sack. And I'm like, you can do that on run plays too, right? Like, you can extend your arms on run plays and shed the dude and then make a tackle in the backfield. You don't just have to like kind of stand up, have your hands on and wait for the running back to come to you. So I think there's a little bit of like learning he can do, but I like aggression. I like pass rush moves that he's already working, and then put him in with Rodney Garner, who doesn't take any nonsense.
Yep.
Feels good. It feels good. Like, there's a lot of, because I have so much faith in a position coach, there's a lot of things that might not be at the top echelon for some recruits, and I'm like, it's okay.
I think the number one guy there, which I know we just lost him, but was a Jason Jenkins, because I remember watching that film just being like, yo, I don't see it. I don't get it. I think he's a, good frame, good looking. I'm not even saying a good looking athlete, because it wasn't like he was popping off the film in high school, but just a good frame. We'll say good frame. But then he comes in, and I thought he did pretty well for Tennessee as a rotational player, and we could have maybe seen him play even more snaps this year.
Yeah.
So I hear you. I agree. It's like I'm not going to write really any of these D linemen off. But, I mean, listen, there's some nice pop and violence, so we like that. You cannot miss the swim move. I mean, he absolutely swim buddy, and it was pretty quick too. Yes, babe? Oh, that's awesome. Congrats. I'm happy to hear that. Megan gets off school tomorrow. She's been waiting on bated breath forever.
Snow day.
Yeah. Well, she got one on Friday, but that's not good enough. She needs another one.
Hey, you better not be coming to the Teachers of America, fam. They're going to come down on your ass.
No. Listen, there's nobody that's a bigger proponent of Megan, Teacher of the Award winner. She's unbelievable teacher, but teachers, man, the good ones are great people, and I truly mean that. But I felt that even before I met her too. So, anyways, I like the swim move. He's a disruptor. I think he has some pretty decent closing speed when he's chasing. He's not a fast or overly explosive guy at the D line, but like his closing speed was decent. He plays the pass and the rush, but he left a lot to be desired for me on the run game. And maybe it is just he comes off and he's just kind of stalemating a guy, and you would think it should look better because you think you should come up, throw this dude, and make the tackle, but really he just kind of sits there and waits and then makes the tackle. So it's like maybe, but that's a bad habit to be in, because in college, like I don't see that happening. You have to be really, really upper echelon of strength to be able to kind of hold a guy like that and then just disengage when you want, compared to beating the block. I think he's a little high, which you already mentioned. I think he needs to be better with his hands on disengaging those blocks.
There's also not a lot of times where you're one-on-one as a D lineman. There's not a lot of times,
especially interior.
There's not a lot of times in run game where it's just you and one guy. Like usually a tackle's hitting you in the hip, a center's hitting you in the hip. So it's like even more important to like get extension on the guy who first hits you, turn your hips a little bit, sit in that A gap, sit in that B gap, trying to make some movement, try and push them back, try and get them, off kilter from each other so they can't double team you. So
3 for 3, another great point. You're just crushing today.
I mean, ball knowers.
That's why you get paid. That's why you get paid the big bucks from bacon junk removal. Yeah. By the way, we do have a job lined up tomorrow. So Megan thinks she might be off work tomorrow, but her ass might be out there helping.
Get your fucking brooms out, baby.
Yeah. So, anyways, I thought he was fine, but this is one of those that I kind of get it. I kind of understand, where there's some pieces that I like of his game, but then it makes sense. It's like, okay, like I like, but I don't love. And so that's probably why you're a 3-star. Does that make sense? Like I can see on this one, I understand why he is what he is.
Yeah, it does.
But I mean, listen, 6'3", 288, come in, work hard, and become a rotational piece and maybe become better than that. So
for sure.
Oh, man, these next two for me, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, bro. These next two were tough for me. So the next one here is Tyler Redman. Sorry, that's my chew. Tyler Redman. He's from Alpharetta, Georgia. He's 6'1", 175. Let me click on him here to see the composite's still a 3-star, if I remember correctly. But, yeah, it's a composite 3-star. I mean, he's the 86th player in the state of Georgia. And he's a 64th cornerback. I'll just say this. I thought he was a good high school football player is basically what I can put. He does a lot for his team, but there's nothing that's really popping off the screen for me, and I just don't really see it. I don't. I hate to say that, but it's like I just don't really see what I'm supposed to get excited about for him at the next level. I truly don't.
I thought some of the things I saw were like effort, Like I saw him like continue to track a guy across the field for a long play. Like just keep running after him. So I'm like, I like that. You know, we called out multiple guys this year when it was like you don't see him, and then all of a sudden he bites a ball down because he's chasing down this guy who's on a crosser.
Yeah.
So it's like I liked that part of it. I mean, I'm not going to be like, hey, this is the best athlete I've ever seen. But I thought he did an okay job in press where he's not necessarily like falling for the little at the line of scrimmage, and he's kind of staying with them and trailing with them. Not falling for the window dressing kind of stuff. I didn't like the fact that like his first tackle was like 3 minutes after 3 minutes of the highlight film where like we finally get to see him like make a tackle. It's like you're going to have to make a lot more than that when the ball gets outside. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine. I actually think a later corner showed me a lot more later down the list that I was like, okay, like this is, and a lot of the guys with their film, they're putting offense and defense in there, and there's like 80-20 offense, and that's when you know that like, oh, you're just playing defense because you're an athlete, and not because you like defense. And then there's guys where you look at their highlight film and it's like, oh, you do not have an offensive play on here because you love playing corner. You know what I mean? Like this is your thing. You want to be a corner, and that's a different kind of attitude, which I like.
Yeah. And listen, some of the stuff that you said, like I noticed as well, like I appreciate when he chased Buddy down and did that. And I saw where there were some guys trying to cook him at the line and he kind of sat on it. I know he's an Alpharetta, Georgia. I don't think that division that he was playing was super high level. In my opinion, it didn't look like there was, but it just didn't pop. There was nothing that popped. That's why I was like, yeah, he's a good high school football player. But like, there was nothing of like, yeah, great. He had some good hustle, but like, I don't even think his other traits are going to allow him to give him the opportunity to be a good hustler for Tennessee. I mean, it sounds terrible, but like I see this guy as a kickoff, go down, make a tackle, maybe on punt. But like, there's nothing else that I see. Like I'd be almost shocked where we look up and this guy's a starter. I think this is come in, he'll be here a year or two, and then he's out. I mean, and like I said, I hate it's cringeworthy for me to say that. I'm just trying to be honest of what I see for people who listen. And it's nothing. I hope he comes in and he does great for him and his family and for the University of Tennessee. But like, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you something that I don't believe in. So, okay. So, let's see. We got Mr. Dotson here. Was that Joakim?
Yeah.
6 foot, 185. He's from the Baylor School in Chattanooga. He is the 14th best player in the state of Tennessee. The composite has him as the 21st best player. Composite says he's the 92 best receiver in the nation. Go ahead, Kyler.
When I watched his film and watched Amari's film, I was like, Baylor, you keep doing what you're doing down there. You keep running that same offense because you're going to start producing wide receivers for us.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah, because it's like, his first few plays are just deep balls. He's literally just running. They're like, hey, run straight, and we'll throw it to you. And it's like, okay, what do we do in our offense? We run fucking straight. We throw deep balls. I like that. Next play, what do? Wide receiver screen, 2 blockers in front of him. Can you take it to the house? He takes it to the house. I'm like, all right, great. Because guess what? We're going to do the same thing on our offense. So it's like, I like seeing high schools running the similar offenses we have. I thought he had really good speed because of that. Like just watching him run by dudes, I'm like, okay, this guy's got speed. I think he tracks the ball well in the air. And then there was a few routes where like I saw an out and up where he made Buddy fall over and he got open in the end zone for a touchdown. I saw a sluggo where he sticks his foot, turns inside, and the guy falls for it and he heads back out. And he's in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. So it's like, okay, like he's got some understanding of route concepts where he can kind of fake dudes out. And the same thing we said about Amari with like the hard cut. I wouldn't say he's as great as Amari is with that, but he still has it enough to fool the guys a little bit. So, like, I feel okay about him. I'm not, hey, this is a great, great prospect. I'm like, all right, like I see some flashes. I see some speed that can be taken advantage of. Now it's just like, can I teach you the full route tree and get you in spaces to make some plays?
Yeah, no, and I hear you on all those. I think for me, yeah, there were some good routes, and he's a good hands catcher, and he's running by some people. This is another one of those where I just didn't feel like it. I just didn't feel like it popped. Like when I'm watching Amari Jefferson from Baylor, that's popping. That is popping off the screen to me. Multiple things. This one was just kind of like I just wanted to almost fall asleep watching. I'm like, yeah, it's fine, but I don't see it translating to the University of Tennessee or high level football. I look at him as a guy who looks pretty small on film. Like he looks slight. He's not very tall, not very big. And so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, Squirrel White, who's probably about that same build. I remember watching his highlight film, and I'm like, I think there's two different guys here because I felt like Squirrel did a lot of different things. I thought there was really good speed and pop off. This again just didn't do it for me where it's like, yeah, he's a good high school receiver. He's a really good high school receiver. He's going to run by people. He's going to make some catches. But it just didn't do it for me where I'm like, can I really see him in orange making big-time plays for Tennessee? Yeah. I just don't. I don't see him in a slot cooking people, catching something and house calling it or coming across on a big-time slant, catching it and taking a shot. That's just me. I could be wrong, but – I mean, like I said, for Tyler Redmond, I had 3 notes, and the last one was don't really see it, and then this one I said don't really see it. You know what I mean? It's just like, and I'm not trying to be mean. I understand. I would say we're both good-hearted people. We're both positive people, but I don't know if you're being just more positive or you're just calling out like, hey, you see some good stuff. And that's what it is. It's good stuff. But I don't know what – maybe what I'm trying to get here is like I'm trying to translate them to Tennessee and tell the fans, hey, this is what you should expect from this guy or not. And you're kind of just like, hey, this is what he does good, but that's it. Like you're not saying whether it's going to translate or not. Is that right or no? Or
yeah, I mean, I think that's right. I think like my form of translate is like, well, he's got some plays in his offense that he's used to that it's not going to be like unfamiliar to him at Tennessee. Do I necessarily see him as like, hey, this guy's going to take the top off and be Jalen Hyatt? No. Do I see him as like, hey, he's going to, run past everybody like Dante? No. But he does a little bit of that at high school level. He makes some guys miss at a high school level. Maybe he can grow into this. I mean, maybe he can start after 2 years and it be at a better spot at that point. But, there's certain recruits that you see that you're like, this guy, if he adds one thing to his game, might be able to play this year. So, Mike Matthews, for instance.
Yeah. I feel you. All right, let's go to the next one here. Let me pull it up. So we got Timothy Merritt. Hold on, let me read it off my phone. Goodness gracious. My phone was not letting me out. 6'2", 180. He's a Birmingham, Alabama boy. And got him at corner, and he is the, 22nd best player in Alabama on composite, 44th corner. What do you think, Kyler?
I don't see him as a corner. Just watching him, I'm like, where's the corner in this? Where is the guy that is going to lock down somebody one-on-one? I don't see that in him. He plays safety, a lot more safety, and he likes to hit at safety. He likes to be a free safety and come up and hit people, which I like. I like violence on defense. I like you want to make a big hit. He's got some good speed to him. But, I mean, that's about it. That's about what I saw. It's like he's got some good speed. He likes to play violent, likes to hit people. And he can kind of, he can watch the quarterback's eyes okay and kind of predict where he's going with the football. But, I mean, it's not a corner. I don't really see him as a star guy. So it's like
Maybe
in our DB room, if you're, kind of pigeonholed to a certain position, it's not good for you.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I was finally happy that I found a pop off of a screen on the speed, but I think that was a damn offensive play, if I'm not mistaken. He ran by the guy. He ran by the guy. I was like, okay, that's what some speed looks like. I mean, he's leaving people. But yeah, there just wasn't a ton to see. I mean, I thought he played pretty physical. Thought he played pretty good coverage. I think there was one that it looked like a quarterback was kind of scrambling out to his right side, and I didn't think it was a great angle that he really took, or it didn't look like some great sideline or closing speed. It just wasn't like, hey, you're a dog ass DB, and here's a guy breaking the line. Like, this is a quarterback, bro, and this was not a quarterback to be afraid of. So go up there and eat him up, and it just didn't do. I mean, it just wasn't that. So yeah, I agree. I don't really know kind of how to. Once again, we're just watching one film. We don't see these guys at camp. We didn't go and watch them play in person. So I'm not William Martinez saying, hey, this is where I want to put him in. But yeah, I don't really see it. Okay, Dwayne Morris. I enjoyed watching this one, so it was fun to get back after watching a couple that I was like, I don't really see it. So we got a Tennessee guy. He's from Oakland. He's there in Murfreesboro. They have him as an athlete, but then he's playing running back, quarterback. He's number 19, 18th player in the state of Tennessee on composite, 24th athlete. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but go ahead and tell me your breakdown, then we'll go from there.
I liked it too. I think he's really patient behind blocks, which I love out of a running back. Just like let your guys do what they need to do in front of you. I hate guys who overrun their blocks as a former offensive lineman. I think he kind of runs angry to me. Mm-hmm. Like when he does get into contacts, like I feel like, and I was laughing to myself, I feel like he makes noises. Like if you watch this film, you're like watching him, I feel like he's like,
yeah.
When he's running. Like that's what it seems like to me. Almost like a gotcha. Like he makes these like really hard, like stutter cuts, which I like. Where he just like breaks down that safety, makes him stop for a second, and then cuts to the outside and gets some speed on him. He's 5'10", 185. He's right around that size of our typical running backs in the hypo era, of like not as big as most running backs, but can move. He's got some plays where he's catching the ball. He's got some plays where he's out at wide receiver, literally lined up at wide receiver running routes. So it's like, I like that part of it because hell, what we saw with Dylan Sampson, it's like, hey, can I give you the ball out in space? Can I throw you out on a little whip route? Can I throw you out on a wheel? Can you catch a screen? And like, he does that. So I liked it. I was like, out of the 3 stars, I'm like, this guy's pretty good. I think he's probably a 3-star just based off of where he plays. Like, not playing against like crazy competition. But I think he's the kind of back that works best in our offense.
Yeah. I enjoyed this one. Let's see. So I love his cuts. I love his side-to-side shift and wiggle. He is patient. He finds it, but then when he finds it, he hits it. So like you mentioned, it's that high pull. We either need you to get it, make one cut and go, maybe make 1 or 2 cuts and go. But I thought he was just a really good running back. I enjoyed, and I understand that they're going to put him at receiver because he's the best player. Throw it to him, let him play that quarterback. I can imagine. I mean, so I'm not sitting here comparing Oakland, who's a good football program, to Texas or Florida or other schools, but I know here in Tennessee they're a damn good program. And I can imagine just being a Catholic playing linebacker, just having to go up against this asshole and just read my keys and be like, okay, here's the guard pulling, and he's doing that, and then he takes it up, and they're going to have some big old boys. And so, and another thing is I thought he was really good in the open field. There were guys that looked like they would have an angle on him, and they would, but they weren't able to bring him down because he'd either break the tackle or juke him, or he would leave him in the dust. So it's like he had kind of the entire arsenal of whether I'm going to make you miss, I'm going to outrun you, or I'm going to run through you on your arm tackles. It, not necessarily like I'm going to truck stick you, but you're just not going to bring me down. He's fluid, but he's also twitchy, like you said. I mean, he'll hit you, bop, and he's gone. So, I enjoyed it. He'll be one that I'll remember watching and being like, okay, let me see. Let me see when he gets in at running back. I want to see if it pops off the screen for me when he gets in there, whether it's a spring game or whether it's garbage time against somebody else. So, and listen, man, to be a good running back, you need a lot. But if you've got that vision, it can make up for so many different things. So obviously, if he can understand the offense and pass protect, but like that alone, man, if you get that good vision, it's going to take you a long way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if every running back realizes this, but 9 other guys on the field are trying to block for you while you have the ball in your hand. Okay. They're all wanting to be in between you and the defenders. Not every running back gets that. They're like, I need to go fast. But you'd be like, hey, if I move to the left here, then someone will block that guy and I don't have to go fast. It's lost on some people. I mean, I remember a screenplay we set up when we were at Oklahoma, and it was perfect. They ran a blitz into it, and they dropped everybody else out. And me and Mac Crowder were out in front, and Jalen Hurd caught that freaking screen. And there wasn't a guy within 25 yards of us as offensive linemen. And we were like, oh, this is it. This is what you want. And we start sprinting down the field. I'm going as fast as I can. And there goes Jalen. Just runs right past both of us. And I'm like, what the frick are you doing, dude? You just took me out of the play. I can't even help you. I'm here. I'm running my ass off at 310 pounds to try and help you. And you won't let me.
Yeah, I guess he thought he could get that 10 yards faster than waiting on you and Mac's big asses to get up there.
Well,
so,
dude, it was like it was an opportunity. If he catches the ball and scores, it would have been a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
like that's how far back we were. And it was like after 15 to 20 yards downfield, then he passed us, and I'm like, just give us a little bit more. Like, we're gonna catch up to these safeties, and they're not gonna know what to do with you.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree. I'm gonna close this window real quick. Hold on, or not close it, but just the blinds. Give me 1 second.
But I like Morris. I think he's gonna be a good running back. I think he'll fit into the offense well. So I am excited to like watch him once he gets here.
Yeah, I am too. Okay, we got AKO and Tony Cade.
You gonna try that one?
Yeah, that's the best I got. 6'4", 320. Nice little big old boy from Oklahoma. He's a number 9 player in Oklahoma on composite, number 39 interior offensive lineman. Obviously, I got to let you go first on this one. He's a O lineman. Let's hear it. And I'm excited to hear what you think about this because there was a couple pieces of this guy's game that I kind of enjoy.
Yeah, no, I'm disappointed I didn't get to watch a senior highlight film, just a junior highlight film. And I think in the junior highlight film, he's like 290. So he is now 320. So he's 30 pounds heavier. I'm wondering about that. I'm wondering if the 30 pounds makes him a little slower because I don't want that. I like the way he looked at 290. I like he carries his weight in his lower body, but he's got quick feet. Like a lot of plays where he's working up to second level and he's getting on linebackers really quick.
Yes.
And he's able to control them down the field.
Yep.
And you can just see he like keeps a good base. He doesn't get too narrow because like there's a lot of guys who will run to the linebacker. And then like when you're in a running position, your legs are like one in front of the other like this. If I hit you on the side, you can fall over really easily. You have no like control. When you have a base to you and you're getting up to them, you have more control. You have more, you have more balance, all that kind of stuff, and you're not going to fall. So he like plays with balance. He plays with control like that. So I like it. I like it out of him. I hope that now at 320 he's not slower. I like that he chases after blocks. He will continue running downfield to try and find work when the play is still going on. He's like a good high school offensive lineman should be. A road grader wants to put you in the dirt, wants to rub his nuts on your face. So we like to do that. And didn't get to see much pass pro. Wish I could have gotten to see more. I think he's got okay feet. Like I said, quick feet in the run game. So I think it can bring over to the pass game. Now he's a tackle in high school.
He's playing guards.
And looks like he's playing interior in college, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with. I think it can work for him. And I hope that like what he's been so used to out on the edge doesn't hold him back when he's down inside. It's just a different animal. You got a lot of time when you're at tackle, when you're blocking somebody between when the ball snaps and when you get your hands on them. At guard and at center, it's right away. So it's like you need to be prepared sooner in the interior guys. And then on the exterior, you need to be prepared for the delay. When there is that certain delay between when you're moving to when you're actually blocking, there's a lot of things that can happen with guys that are more athletic than you. Moving around you, hitting your hands down, all that kind of stuff, timing wise. When it's on the inside, it's like, hey, if you don't get your second foot down, you're not moving this dude. So it's like you need to be quick and on him right away. Then you can gain control of him. So I hope that translates okay. But listen, give me some frame, show me some quick feet and aggression as an offensive lineman. I think I can train you. I think I can teach you some good technique and make it to where you're even better. So I like it. I think it's a good addition. I think he's good for a 3-star.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I like a lot of the pieces. And if he is that big and he's able to, you were talking about him finding work. I've never watched a high school film and just thought, man, he is eager. Like he is eager. Like he is trying to find work. He is not doing it recklessly, but he's out there. He wants to be physical. He wants to be violent. He's got some pretty good speed for a big boy. There was one of those that he got out and he was getting to the second level. I'm like, he looks like a good-looking athlete. I mean, just absolutely from his start spot there at offensive line to try to work up to that second level. I was like, that's a quick guy. That's good speed. I thought he did the second level pretty well. I thought he would get up there and he was under control. He wasn't leaning. He had pretty good hands, because a lot of these guys that are eager, they'll get to that second level and just do everything they can to get that pancake, but he's going to wait. Yeah. And he's going to wait and he's going to use his feet, use his hands. Then when he can, he's going to finish you. But he's physical. He's violent, aggressive. He's everything I liked while being under control, because I hate the guy that's physical and aggressive, but it's not under control, because that's just going to end up getting you beat, whether it's penalties or a guy swimming you or using your aggression against you. So I really liked it. This is a guy where it's like, I understand why he's a 3-star, but I like the pieces that are there. I like the mold, or I like the block that's there. And I think a good offensive line coach could really mold him. Yeah. And like you said, because obviously you know better than anybody, but if he is okay with coming in and understands that, which never speaking to this kid, knowing nothing about him, but watching 3 minutes of him, it just seems like he could translate to the nasty of the interior guard, center guard. And so this will be another guy that I'm excited to be like, all right, man, you got the opportunity. Come here. Let me see you in 2 years when all these other dudes graduate, and let me see you. Like, how are you going to be a guard for us? And how is that going to translate? Because like I said, I like a lot of the traits and tools that he has. I enjoyed watching it, Yeah. So
I mean, as soon as I saw him like first few plays is just him working up to the second level
Yeah.
linebacker, and he's like quick up there, good
Yeah.
base, collecting himself, not lunging or way out of place. I'm like, okay, I like that. I like that. And
I
I'm like, you're
feel
300 pounds and you're moving like that? Okay.
I feel like you and I are the exact same. If you're an offensive lineman and we're going to get our attention, it's either you work to the second level and you look smooth, athletic, aggressive, but under control, or a really beautiful pass set. Because everyone in high school, you can show me where you grab the guy in front of you, whether he's a stand-up outside linebacker, D-end, and you drive him. Okay, great. You get your hands on him and you're bigger and stronger. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I want to see how well you pass set. How patient are you? Are you under control? And then going to the second level. I love watching guys on the second level.
The one play I hate the most in an O-line film is like a pass set, or maybe a up to the second level where it's like as soon as they get there, like you see it, like they're running to the right, and then all of a sudden as soon as they get there, they throw the guy to the left. Yeah. It's like, well, obviously you grabbed a hold of him, torqued him, and swung him over your hip like you did a hip toss. That's not a legal offensive block. So don't put that on your highlight phone, because you just got us a 10-yard penalty, jackass.
Seriously, there was a corner film that I was watching. I was like, yeah, I like your aggressiveness, but man, that's PI. So I don't know why you put it on here.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, yeah, I enjoyed watching that. Okay, so we do have Dylan Lewis. He's another corner. Let me read off his stuff. All right, Mr. Lewis. He is another Alpharetta, Georgia boy, or did I click on someone else? Nope. Yep, Alpharetta, Georgia boy, 5'11 and a half, 185. Number 80th player in Georgia, number 60th cornerback in the nation. All right, Kyle, go ahead.
I mean, out of the other corners that we've really looked at, like I kind of like Dylan more. He's the one I was talking about where it's like his whole film is him at corner.
Yeah.
Like that's what he plays. So it's like you see him one-on-one press, and he stays with those dudes. And he's got that good arm where he's kind of feeling them out the whole way down the field. He's got good like gather steps when it's an open field and he's trying to make a tackle. Like I thought he was the most like complete out of this like second half of DBs for a position. Like he is a corner, which I like. I want to see that out of him. He's got that kind of dog in him. I thought his team was like, hey, you're the one-on-one guy. You're our one-on-one corner. So you're gonna guard this guy by yourself. We're gonna do defense with the rest of us over here. So he's kind of been put on that island before. Now, am I going to say that like I like his film more than I do of Ricky Gibson? No.
Yeah.
But like, do I like some of the stuff he did? Yeah. Do I like that when he is in press, it's not like he gets beat right off the line. He still stays with this guy. Yeah, I like that. I like that he is not out of control when he tries to come up and make a tackle. I like that he gathers himself. That he kind of understands that, hey, I need outside leverage to force this guy back inside if I miss, and like those kinds of things. So I liked, of the corners that are in this half, I think I liked him the most.
Yeah. No, I understand that. But I don't know how much that's saying, you know what I mean? And not. But, the one thing I saw is like he's going to compete, man. He's a competitor. He's going to line up. He's going to take the challenge. He's going to press you. I would have liked to have some better camera angle on this one because there were some deep throws that I would have loved to have seen how he played through the entirety of a route. But listen, he went up and PBU'd it, and they didn't call a flag. So that was good. There was one that he looked like he might have got a little handsy on, but that's okay. He's going to fight, and I don't necessarily mean like he's going to get in a fight and cause us a penalty, but like he has that corner mentality that he's going to line up. He's going to just this is what it seems like to me watching. He's going to line up. He's going to think he's better than you. He's going to compete for the entirety of the play. If you do beat him, he's going to reset and come right back and keep coming.
Yep.
I thought he had some nice PBUs, or not bad on some of his block disengaging and tackles. I thought he played his coverage well, meaning whether they had him in cover 2, kind of watching the flats. I thought he did a good job of like, okay, I got number 1 going. I'm seeing, don't chase. All right, I got this running back coming back through. That's good. So yeah, I thought he read his keys and stayed in his coverage pretty well. And yeah, I thought it was fine. Thought it was good. I'm not overly excited about him, but obviously I think it was, better than some of the other ones we've seen.
Yeah.
But better than some of the others we've seen in this class, I should say, or this grouping. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I'm a little bit worried on his athletic ability, meaning in the fact, though, if you're going to press like that and you're going to play like that in the SEC, like you have to have a little bit of wheels on you, man. Like you have to
have a lot of speed. You
got to have the speed, you got to have the quickness, you got to have the hips, because if you don't have those things, then you have to be elite at everything else. You know what I mean? Your lack, and I'm not saying his lack of speed, I'm just talking about generally, but like a lack of speed or quickness, then that means your eyes have to be perfect, your hands have to be perfect on the line of scrimmage. You got to basically be a rat, a study rat in the gym all the time, watching film, knowing what's coming, because you're just at a little disadvantage.
You can get in that perfect trail position as a corner, but the wide receiver runs a 4.3.
Yeah.
So it's like just giving him 40 yards, he's gonna start getting space.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Justin Baker. Let's pull this puppy up. All right. So we got JB. He's 5'9.5", 205. I do like his swag. I'll say that. I like JB's swag. He's a Buford, Georgia guy. He's a composite 79th player in the state of Georgia. He's the 50th running back. And yeah. So I'll let you take this one.
Thicker boy. 205 at 5'9", makes him a little thicker. I think that helps some of his break tackles. It's not as easy with one-arm tackles on him. I'm not giving him the cut and stutter step like I did with Morris, but he's got a little in him. He's faster than I expected him to be. Like when I read his height and weight, I was like, all right, let's see how fast he is. And I was like, okay, like he can turn on the burners a little bit, which I like. But I mean, watching it, I was like, his O-line is doing freaking work. I mean, this guy wasn't getting touched. He was getting 8, 9, 10 yards before a defender was close to him.
It definitely seemed like they had a well-oiled machine high school football team.
I just kept being like, okay, like he got the handoff and then he went one direction and went through the hole, and not a defensive lineman touched him, not a linebacker touched him, and now he's up to the third level safeties, and now he's trying to make moves on those guys and get to the – and I'm like, play after play after play, he's not getting touched.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, that was a great touchdown, man, but let me explain to you how the offensive line room works. It's like maybe that O-line has been helping him out a little bit, maybe helping in his recruiting. But yeah, I thought he was a decent player, pretty good speed for his size, and thick legs, thicker guy, so he can break some tackles. Like you said earlier on some of the other guys, was there the wow factor? Was there the play on the field? Like, oh, dang. No. Like when you run for a 40-yard touchdown and no one touches you, and you just ran a counter to the left, and you ran downhill until you got to the sideline, then you just hugged the sideline to the end zone. How am I supposed to evaluate you as a top tier running back? It's like you had enough speed to get there. The safety took a bad angle and the offensive line blocked all the guys in front of you. All right. Well, that didn't show me anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like production, and I didn't even look his stats up, but like this is something that I watch him. I'm like, this guy was probably super productive in high school because it looks like a good program, good offensive line. Like I said, I like this swag. He looked like he competes, and he's going to run hard. He's going to play hard. But yeah, there was nothing that was, you're 5'9", 200. I remember watching Dylan Sampson at 5'9", 180, and you watch it immediately and you're like, all right, Louisiana, okay, speed, leaving people, like, okay, that's his gift. And then he gets here and you're like, oh, wait, he's got really good center of gravity, really good balance. Like, he's a great player. So it's like, what am I looking for out of Justin? And none of that popped, which, like I said, he just seems like it was just a good high school running back. He's probably going to come in, do a lot of the things, pretty well. But I don't know if any of it's going to be really good enough to make him, a really good rotational piece or like a starter or anything like that. And that's no knock on him. It was just like you said, it was like, man, we all are a well-oiled machine. And then, it was like sometimes he'd run by some people. Some other times he'd get caught from behind. There was never one wow moment of, okay, juke that dude, spin off that guy, break that arm tackle. You know what I mean? So, I just felt like it was probably a really good offensive line, really good program. He probably, hell, I can look it up. He probably had 1,800 yards because they probably just handed him the rock a bunch. And, he's a good productive player. But
I agree. I mean, when we were watching it, I saw some of the offensive linemen and just comparing them to the other people on the field. I was like, those are pretty big dudes. Like I remember watching big dudes. I remember watching like my little brother with Cade and with Brian Tucker over at Catholic and being like, you can tell they're a lot bigger than everybody else.
Yeah.
And like that was the same thing I was watching. I was like, that number 75 and that number 68 are pretty big dudes as offensive linemen. Like you got some guys on your team.
And it felt like he would kind of hit that line of scrimmage and hit that mosh, and he would come out on the other end, but the coming out on the other end wasn't shot out of a cannon. And then it wasn't Dwayne Morris's pop, cut, break arm tackle. It wasn't that. So, okay, next one here. We got Brendan Ains or Anus, maybe. I don't know. That might be
Aris. What's is it an N or R?
No, it's an N.
N.
Yeah. Ennis, yeah. So Tennessee guy, Franklin, Tennessee. 6'2", 220, good size kid. He's a composite 3-star. He's the number 22th player in the state of Tennessee. He's 67th linebacker in the nation. I enjoyed watching his film. I'm fine with him being a 3-star. I don't know. I need to go look. I don't know if there's 22 other better high school players than him in the state of Tennessee. Maybe there are, but I liked a lot of what I saw. I would love to know, just out of curiosity, I would love to know a 40 that he maybe had, because I thought he played pretty fast on the field.
I did too. I mean,
so I would want to see kind of how that lined up. This is one of those offer lists too that it's, is he just one of those typical pretty good high school linebackers, that plays pretty good, but he's probably not going to maybe be that great at the next level. But that's not what I see with him. Like, I see a good athlete. I see a good frame. I see him doing a lot of good stuff. So this one, I maybe understand the 3-star. Maybe that paint a coat he's got on the car, being white, maybe. I don't know, but like he didn't seem like some lumbering. Anyways, I don't know. Go ahead and then go ahead. That was just kind of me rambling there, but go ahead and tell me what you saw on the film.
No, I mean, it starts off like his first play is a one-handed interception, where he's like reading the quarterback's eyes, and it's like, okay, like this guy's an athlete, like right off the bat can make one-handed picks, diving one-handed picks. Like, I like it. Absolutely loves to bring a hammer, loves to hit people. Multiple plays where he's just screaming to come hit somebody on the edge, and like I love to see that out of linebackers. I'm with you. I thought like I'd like to see what his 40 time is. He looks fast out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the competition. He's just so much faster than them, but he looks fast while he's running around. He shoots his gun. He's not like hesitant when it comes to it. Hey, the ball goes outside. Hey, I'm going. Like I'm not second guessing on anything. Same thing like when he's interior linebacker, he'll shoot into the gap. He's not hesitating. I love the fact that he's just got like multiple like kick return and interception return blocking highlights on there. Like where he's just like, I'm going to find work and dumping, buddy. It's like, I love that about him. I love that about his character and the football player he is, where he's like, we're trying to win this damn game. I'm going to do everything I can to win this game. And like he just seems like one of those guys who will start on special teams when he first gets here.
Yeah.
And kind of work his way into it because he's like, I want to be on the field making a fucking tackle. Like, put me out there, coach.
Yeah. So I watched this kid, and I'm impressed. Like, he plays a lot of different positions. So I love seeing that they have him coming off the let me say this. Maybe he's not playing multiple positions. He's an outside
linebacker in multiple spots.
That's it. Exactly. It's multiple spots where he's out and he's in pass coverage, and that's a one-handed pick. It's nasty. He's sitting there, and the quarterback's trying to roll it out, and the quarterback thinks he can fit it in. He's a long guy, goes out and makes a pick. I love they got him out kind of splitting the difference, and they run it up the middle, and his ass is shot out of a missile and comes to the side and blows Buddy up. You know how many times I've watched college football and they split a guy out like that, and a guy busted up the middle, and there's not a linebacker there. He's having to chase him down and kind of drag him down. I mean, he is a missile. He's physical. He's violent. He's athletic. He takes on blocks. Dude, these high school kids are not wanting to block him. He's rocking people. He does have that Madden glitch that I want to see out of my DBs and safeties and linebackers, where when he decides he's coming, he's coming. Like you said, he shoots his gun, but he closes. I think there's more than a typical big kid beating up on lesser talent linebacker. You know that you see a high school film and you're like, oh, he's just a menace and he's just wrecking shop because he's just bigger than a lot of these kids. No, like there's, for example, like, and I know they play different positions. I mean, Carson Gentle was more of a D lineman. He tried to play linebacker, but you watch him and his foot speed compared to this, there ain't, I mean,
oh yeah,
it gets me excited because I can see him coming in and being an every down linebacker because he's going to play the run well. He's going to be violent. He's going to be physical against the blocks. Yep. He's going to be fine in space. So there was a lot. And funny thing is, he was committed to Wisconsin. And you go back and think about some of the Wisconsin linebackers that they've had. And I'm like, man, over the past 5, 8, 10 years, they've probably had – they definitely have had better linebackers than Tennessee. University of Tennessee is. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to shout out TJ Watt. I mean, obviously but I'm not going to go that extreme that everyone that goes there is that. But I mean, you just look up and you're like, oh yeah, there's another 6'2", 6'3" white guy that's balling for his team on the NFL, and you're like, oh, where'd he come from? It's like, oh, it's a Wisconsin linebacker. I mean, it just happens. And so I just thought that was funny that he was committed there and we got him. And I really, really thoroughly enjoyed watching this film. I thought he did everything really, really well. Like I said, I just appreciated that he played in space so well, and that when you play in space, are you going to be a space linebacker? Can you play in the box? Like, nah. He's got the frame, the demeanor, and the athletic ability to play both. I really liked him, so I think he's better than the offer list he had, maybe even a 3. Unless the people he's playing are not that good, but I could see him have been in a 4-star.
I agree.
You know, like I wouldn't have been surprised if I watched it. You know, and he was a 4-star. So
yeah.
All right, let me pull up this last one, and we'll get y'all out of here. Okay, last one, Mr. Walton, Sidney Walton. Got another Alabama fellow, 6'1", 187, 28th player composite in the state of Alabama, and number 51st safety in the nation. All right, Kyler, what'd you see here, brother?
I thought he was a pretty good tackler. I like that out of him. I thought he's got really good length, and he uses it. Uses it in block shedding, uses it in coverage. And he like keeps his hand on the dude to know where he's at, stays with him. You know, I thought he played with good like leverage when he was outside. I think he's definitely leans more towards a safety or a star than he does a corner. But I was like, okay, this is a decent guy out there. He's athletic. He can make some good tackles. You know, he leads with his leg and his shoulder at the same time when he's tackling. I like. And he's got length to him where he can shed blockers. He can, you know, stab stab a blocker and keep outside leverage and almost use the blocker to make the tackle or you make the tackle. Like guys who can do that with long arms, it's tough for wide receivers out there when they're trying to block or tight ends even. So I thought he was good, and like 6'1", 187, it's a good size. It's a good size for a guy out there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's my favorite DB of this bunch that we've talked about. I think he's better than the other corners or athletes that we've broken down that maybe project there. He can – when he was pressed up, I thought it was good coverage. I thought he had good feet, good hips, didn't get too handsy, but he had a PBU. I thought he was good enough against the run. Like there's some guys you watch and you're like, they're fine, they'll do it, but I don't think they necessarily love it. And then there's guys that absolutely feast for it and love it. And he's not that, but he's definitely not the other. I think he's a good balance of, he'll come up, attack the run. I could see him as a star player, because he does have that good length. But I liked him. I think he's a good player. This is a 3-star that I guess I can understand why he's a 3-star, but I'm not going to be surprised if he comes to Tennessee and gets some rotational time, play some special teams. I'm also not going to be surprised if I don't really hear much from him in a couple of years and he's transferred to, a Memphis or an Appalachian State. But I do think there's some credit to be said that I liked him better than some of the other guys, and whether it's how he tracks guys or whether how he plays his coverage or plays the ball, stuff like that. So yeah. I enjoyed. I mean, I enjoyed watching it. Like I said, it's the first DB film we've got to watch that's, I guess, besides Dylan a little bit, but that there was actual just all DB plays. So, anyways. Good pod. I enjoyed it. Next week, we'll be doing a breakdown of the full season, and I'll tie in some recruiting stuff into that. So,
yeah, we'll do the full season, how we felt, everything that all the emotions that went into it, where we feel like we're headed. So that'll be a fun one. And if there's any other guys that, I don't know, pop in, any other transfers that come up, we'll probably bring them up on the pod or stuff like that. But that's the full signing class. We're glad the guys are coming. We're glad to see some of these big name dudes. Very excited for David Sanders Jr., obviously. But yeah, great pod.
See you, brother. Be good.
See you, man. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you are watching, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. If you're just listening, rate and review, download, re-download, follow us on those listening platforms. Follow us on social media at Pancakes and Bacon on Twitter, at Pancakes and Bacon _RTI on Instagram, at rbacon26 for Reed on Twitter, at Kyler Curbison for myself on all social medias. Really appreciate you guys. Best fans in the world. So excited for the next year, everything that's going on, Heupel's growth. So, as always, go Vols.